Gabrielle Celeste here. Welcome to another episode of my YouTube channel. We're going to be talking about receiving messages as a spiritual entrepreneur. I am the co-host of the Spiritual Sisters podcast. I own AGUA Astrology, and I wanted to talk about just ways in which you can receive messages within your spiritual business or any business for that matter if you're open to just life's beautiful messages and intricacies that are all around you. And I might have shared on this channel already, definitely on the podcast, that I have been training under shamanic mentorship for the last 5 months. And prior to that, I always believed that everything is spiritual, but now I just know it to be true, especially the ways in which I receive information. And I wanted to talk a little bit about how that shows up by way of the structures in one's business. And so, the first and foremost thing that I wanted to share as an example is that your clients are going to relay to you your healing that you have either already worked through, are currently working through, or are about to work through. And those patterns, in terms of the types of clients that you attract, are 9 times out of 10 going to involve or include topics that you're able to support them with because you yourself have either recently gone through that, are currently going through it, and depending on who, say, you possibly could work with, will soon to or eventually go through. And I think that there's a message, and this is like where the shamanism is coming in. Everything is a message, from maybe the type of client that you're working to the patterns in your business, to the animal that just flew by you that it caught your attention, it caught your eye. And there's symbolism in everything. And most oftentimes it's the divine trying to push you in a certain direction to go through. So I talked a little bit about this in my business idea video that I dropped about 2 years ago, and I might have already spoken to this throughout some elements of my previous videos, but I think it's important to share because sometimes people don't start, and that could be because of their limiting beliefs, which could be an entirely different video. But sometimes people don't start because they don't know where to start and they don't know what their niche will be. And I think just starting is actually one of the most important things you could do so that you can see what patterns are trying to come up for you and trying to reveal themselves so you can go in that direction. Sometimes that's referred to as breadcrumbing. And usually, what I mean by that, so as an intuitive reader, a lot of the challenges I had worked through, especially in my career space, I was able to support other females with that were also going through crazy legal scandals or challenging discussions at that time, with their employers. And I just was able to provide them with insights. And so I knew from the very beginning of my business, I wanted to work with professional women that were interested in doing the healing work. And I was able to provide them then at that time with supportive insights. So that could be a previous example. The current example is along the lines of, say you're working through, I don't know, like control as one of your areas of improvement. And you're seeing within your clientele that they're also struggling with the same limiting beliefs or same points of challenge for their next threshold of growth and their next up level. And it's almost being reflected back to you as a message for you. Another example for like the future is, and this actually, now that I'm working through it and working through my lower 3 chakras, I had the opportunity of reading for one of my mentors, and I felt like I didn't land that reading because I didn't feel like I could have supported her. But now looking back, or I was able to support her in with like tactile ways or steps of action to take. And now looking back, that session was just as much for me now as it was for her then, because that session was providing me with insights in terms of like how I was going to be moving forward at a particular time in my life, which I didn't know. And the way that that can come up is points of innovation, depending on what your client's needs are. And that can help you improve either services, your approach, your offerings, and products, in any business for that matter, and just paying attention to what your client actually needs. And it's a little bit more special and indirect and not as tactile or tangible in this line of work, but paying attention to the messages that are the patterns that are your clients and what they're coming to you for is a fantastic place to start. And one thing that I've also learned is that the more healing that you do within yourself, the more that you create space for not only your business to grow, but you to grow as well. And it allows you to energetically grow your business from that standpoint. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. In some direct ways, well, one direct way, and that's paying attention to your clients and their needs in terms of how to receive messages from the divine running a spiritual business. So, I hope you enjoyed.